trying something different using this onboard camera that I got here on this laptop. Hopefully the AC doesn't pop on, but essentially we're finishing up our first round of product designs, and we're going to create our own little thing, probably next week or so. And what we'll do here is we're going to take a look real quick at the little band that we designed, that I designed the other day. So this is what I ended up printing off. Now let me just show you a couple of things about the print off here. If you look real close, you can kind of see that there's no autofocus on this, but it ended up being pretty pixelated. It ended up being pretty crappy, just as far as that went, right? And so it's especially easy to see with like the text down at the bottom. Now, I printed it off on that printer that used to be in the back of the classroom that I actually ended up taking home, and this on the floor over here. So, a couple things to keep in mind whenever you are going to do something sort of printed off like this. What you're probably going to have is just a series of like runs. So, for instance, there's like a limited palette on this little logo here, right? And in the logo itself. So there's like a blue, there's a red, there's a green, whatnot. You probably would have like one run where like it lays down all the blues, and then one where it lays down all the blacks, and then probably with the CMYK, right? So what you would end up getting is like just a series of just run throughs that would print off just what it needed, like one with the yellow, one with the blacks, and stuff like that, right? And so it printed it all off like that, and then you would have someone die cut it out and stuff. So about enough on the back here, right? So the idea with like being able to print it off, with one run at a time, is that you can really kind of control for what like especially measurement specifications and stuff. With this thing, what I ended up doing was I ended up saving this as a PDF from Photoshop. Like I downloaded it and I put it into Photoshop and I like flipped it and whatnot and tried to print it off. And I found that like it printed it off like just a bit like bigger than it needed to be, right? So when I put this on here, it's like show like the little book, the books that we designed it after. It ends up being about 3.5 inches, or like about a half an inch too big. So it sort of sticks out to the side here. Can I see that, right? And on the back, it sort of juts out a bit too far on the back as well, right? So I think essentially I put this into the calculator. So like if I reduced the size by like 12%, like printed this at like an 88% scale, it probably would have fit pretty well. So printing it off at a different like scale than what we actually designed it at. Again, that's like putting it into like a computer that's not meant for a printer that's not meant for that. And actually, I wasn't even plugged into it. I actually had it like on a USB drive, so you can actually print from a USB drive. Just I had this little USB drive and just sort of like press print and let the printer make up its own rules and stuff. So that's just like goes to show that there's a lot more to printing off this product design stuff than simply just popping out the design. You got to think about like when you send it to the printer, what's going to happen. Well, there's one great company that I really love called Field Notes, which this is what the brand is, Field Notes, right? So I recommend them. But they actually have videos that talk about the printing process when it comes to all that. So, all right. So what we'll do right now is we're going to just pull this video capture off. We're going to go to Gravit Designer, and we're going to find, let me go over here. Let's get rid of this. And we'll go to Open from Cloud. And we'll find our subscription box logo here. And then what we'll do is you should have downloaded this box kind of cutout here. So we just go over here to the photo image add, and I'll find my downloads. I'll find 1x. I'll find 1x. Box 100 is what it's called. And we can get in real close here, and we can kind of see that we've got 2 boxes. So essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating this box that's going to be just a base with a lid, right? So there's a couple things that I think we could probably do with this base and this lid. For the base, I thought what we could do is we could sort of look at like the walls here. So for instance, if you were to like look at this, essentially the square here for the lid, right? And so I want to say this is what we're going to be looking at here. This is going to be like the top. So this is the top, and this is the top, right? So if we wanted to print something on the top and on the inside, what we probably would want to do is we'd probably want to like have like a liner shape that's like off to the side here, which we won't really worry about. So we're going to have like a design on the top, and then we're going to have a design on the sides, like these long rectangles here, and then we'll have we could probably leave these blank, or we could even give ourselves what we call a bleed. If you recall what a bleed is just something that would keep you from having like any white stripes like that are visible here. So we could make this sort of all the way around, right? As far as this goes over here, we could really have something like on the we could treat this as the inside or as the outside. So if you wanted to have like the obviously when the box is closed you wouldn't see anything, and then when the box is open, so we're gonna probably do like just a little something. We'll treat this as like the inside, like looking down from the top here, right? So you could probably envision, well, let's see, yeah, so probably envision like this being visible, but then like this being folded over and stuff. So so depending on what you're looking for, so we'll just treat this as like the inside. So this would be like the bottom of the box and stuff. Then once you open it up. Okay, so I'm going to start off just by real simply grabbing my whole design here and then shrinking it down to size to fit on top of my box. So let me Control Shift it up to get it on top. And I think I might actually put some kind of color here. So just real quick go to Modify and group this selection just so I can click on it and move it around and stuff. So I'll probably shrink this down a little bit more. And what we'll do here, like sort of try we can, approximate the center of it here. And essentially what we'll do is we'll put like maybe a color. So look at your thing here. So I've got blues and I've got oranges. So I'm trying to think here. Let me go over here to color.adobe.com. And let's take a look. Let's find a trimetric. I'll try it here. So we can like take a look at this. If we had one that was orange and one that was blue, so let's look here. Orange and blue, and then maybe green is like the other color that's sort of missing here. So maybe we could put some sort of like mint green color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually try to keep these things visible here. So I'll get my shapes, and I'm going to draw a couple so I'll draw like a rectangle that goes across the top like this. And I'm going to see if I can't make sure that these lines are still visible. In fact, what I probably will do is I probably will Control down, just to put it down. I'll probably choose like a brighter green or a deeper green. So find whatever color you want to do. So like this right here might be a good color, but then I'll just like reduce the opacity. So I'll put it darker than I want it in this case here. I might even like saturate it a bit more. Well, I can't really do the HSL at this point. And I'll just drag the opacity down to like, say for instance, 60%, maybe 50%. Okay, I kind of like that. Okay, and then with that, what we could do is we could just add like a different color, and then let's real quick put like, for instance, we're in the month of April. Maybe we could like put like whichever month this is. So I'm gonna make this be April. So I'll look at my text tool here, and I'll just type in the word April, and I might even choose the same font. So I had Pacifico as my font there, so I'll just do. And I'll make sure I can have it visible. I'll change the fill to white. And I'll just go to Modify, Path, Character Path. Yeah, I'll just bring the size here. It's about good. And let's think here. I wonder, like, there's probably something else we could put on here. Oh, honestly, this is probably good. We could like take this off center. We could even have these both be like at a 45-degree angle or something if you felt so inclined. So you can like that. Make this even bigger. So think about what you want. I mean, you don't have to do what I just did here. You could keep it, straight up and down. For the cuffs here, what I'll do is I'll get a new color. So we go over here to my square tool here, and I'm going to make one rectangle shape here. And what I'll do is I'll just sample this color. Let's just sample this color up here, and maybe even make it a bit darker. And I'll once again reduce the opacity to like so I can see the lines there. So I'll make this a little bit darker on the side. So I'll just take this shape here and I'll reproduce it a couple times and just rotate it. So even though it's going over the lines, the idea is that, you know, we don't want any bleed. We don't want any like white space kind of visible. So we're going to leave that stuff, that bleed out there, so we can kind of cut it away if we want to. Okay, cool. It's curious. Oh, I see. We don't have the little flaps there. Yeah. Okay, neat. Size. Okay, and so say for instance you wanted to like I don't know, if you wanted to like have multiple colors like on the sides here, maybe you could even like add like a stripe or something like that. That's fine too. But I would suggest that we keep like, you know, these two the same color. Maybe we could even like change these two to something slightly different. Like maybe change these two to more like a, I don't know, like maybe even like a bluish color. The idea there is that we can, you know, we would have these two corners be contiguous, like the two contiguous blue sides and stuff. So, all right. So as far as the base goes, let's do this number here. Let's choose one solid color here. I might choose this blue, and you can choose the other one. And let's just make it as big as like these two inner walls here. Like just as far as that dotted line goes on the outside. Okay, so once we have this color here, what we'll do is we'll get our like same font that we had for our logo, and we'll just type in the name of our box, Paddler box, and we'll create a little watermark that goes across the top here. So we'll just change this back to whatever font we're looking for. In this case, Pacifico. So whatever font you used, and then I'll just go over here to modify. Path, convert to path, and I'll just I'm gonna shrink this down slightly, and I'll rotate it a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll just sort of like kind of try to reproduce it in sort of repeating patterns here. So I'll just kind of brick layer almost like one atop the other. Obviously, definitely make sure that you have some on the walls here. All right, so in order to get rid of all this, what we'll do is we'll have to select everything and then shift click on both the sort of paper in the background as well as the square here. Oops. Yeah, no, just keep the square. So shift click on this, and then what we can do is we go over here, we can just go to subtract, and that should take a second here, but once it subtracts, it should. Okay, so I'm just gonna admit to you guys that my page went unresponsive for a second there. So just be careful with that. You may want to like just try doing this one at a time, or even just like make this white and just kind of add it on top. You don't really have to cut it out. Anyways, we'll call this done. So you have your box design. So I just want you to think about like, you know, whenever you design things, like again, we're looking at like, you know, something deliverable, right? So in this case, this is something that's going to be put in someone else's hands and stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind. Yeah. All right, cool. So export this as a JPEG or is export, can we do a PDF document? Ah, I see. All right. Well, JPEG's fine. And then submit. Very cool. All right. That's all she wrote. See y'all in class.